I'm going to make a video, Midge. I'm going to have to move you from there because that's where I sit. Sorry about that. Hello boaters. Well, most boats use bottled gas, and although you can get it from different manufacturers, the most common one is Calor gas because it's widely available. You might be able to buy gas from a different manufacturer locally, but when you go travelling you might have a job to swap the bottle. So that's why Calor gas has got the monopoly basically on boats. And I use 13 kilogram propane bottles, and there's in my gas locker there's room for 2 of those, so I've usually got a spare one. Well, years ago I used to have a gas fridge, a gas cooker and an instantaneous gas water heater, and a 13 kilo bottle of gas would last me about 30 to 35 days. These days unfortunately I don't have a fridge, but I've still got the cooker and the water heater, and now a gas bottle will last me anywhere from between 60 to 90 days, so it's much better. It depends how much I use the oven, I think, mainly. So there's, it's quite a saving in cost, because when I first started boating back in 1990, these gas bottles would cost, I think they were $7.99 or $8.99 a bottle, and now they're £45. So it's gone up so much, and you've really, the cost of like running a fridge off gas never used to really be an issue. But now it would really make you think about keeping that little thing burning all the time. Now the other thing about gas, of course, is that the bottles do run out, and propane itself is odourless. So what they do, they add a chemical to the gas bottle that gives it a smell, and that's not too bad. As the gas bottle gets emptier and emptier and emptier, I find that usually sort of 2 to 4 days before the bottle's going to run out, you'll notice when you use the gas that an extra strong smell emanates from the flame, which is really quite unpleasant. And it actually tends to give, although this is all supposed to be quite harmless, it does actually give me a headache, which is a nuisance. When I had the gas fridge, that had a constantly lit little pilot light keeping it hot, and that would start to stink for up to like 5 days before the bottle ran out, and that was really quite unpleasant. Of course, the obvious solution is to, as soon as you start smelling the nasty fumes or whatever it was, to change the bottle there and then, because the bottle's going to run out anyway. But then you're going to be losing several days worth of gas, so I tend to stick it out and wait for the bottle to actually stop and run out. I think we've got a boat going by at the moment. It's very quiet at this time of year. I stopped recording there because that boat was quite noisy. Anyway, yes, so gas on boats is pretty convenient. One of the problems, apart from the smell as that the bottle is about to go empty, is when the bottle does finally run out, it'll almost always do it at a really inconvenient time. You'll be halfway through cooking your dinner and the gas will run out. You'll be halfway through having a shower, the gas will run out, the water will go cold. And either of those things could be the case. And usually it'll be raining and windy and horrible outside. So I'll show you how I changed the bottles over in a moment. When I built the cratch on the front of my boat, I designed it so that I could change the bottles and hopefully still be sheltered whilst doing so. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so time to change the gas bottle. And because this usually happens at an awkward time, I designed this cratch with a removable front panel so that I can change the bottle and not get soaking wet. Now, it's a bit awkward holding the camera. Let's see. To leave it there a minute. Now, unplug the camera, undo the bolts, and then this panel lifts out. I'll show you. Lots of spiders. Right. And yeah, there's the gas locker, and we will need a big spanner for this. I'll measure that in a bit. Right, so now how am I going to position the camera here? So we lift the lid and prop it open with my trusty stone. Hello, what have we got snails doing in there? Right. So I've got two gas bottles chained together. You can't lock your gas locker because in an emergency people might need to open it to shut the gas bottles off. But they're all locked up with a big hefty chain. Right, I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So this is the bottle that's empty. So first of all we turn the tap off. And then we have to undo the pigtail here. Now the thread is reversed. So normally when you tighten something up you would turn it clockwise to tighten it and anti-clockwise to loosen it. This is reversed. So to loosen it, for this one you turn clockwise. Okay, so that one's loose. In the other bottle we've got a plastic bung which we remove. Now, see, I'm going the wrong way there. When you do this, be very careful not to scratch this at all, because you'll get a serious gas leak otherwise. That goes carefully. Also, you've got to be very careful not to get any dust or dirt in there, because that'll block the regulator up. So we put that into the new bottle and then we turn it anti-clockwise. To screw it in, you just do it up finger tight, and then with a spanner you just give it a, don't do it over tighten these things, so we get that on and give it a bit of a little bit of a turn. Open up the tap, you open it all the way until it stops and then back just a little tiny bit, and that's it. It's done now. These bits of foam are to stop the lid from rattling when I'm trying to record videos. Okay. It's quite a simple procedure, but it always happens at the worst possible time, I find. Where's that not go? That's in the way. That's it. Over the years, I must have swapped hundreds of gas bottles. I mean, hard to say really. I've only ever had two problems. One was where the cylinder itself had a small leak where the fitting screws into the top of the canister. So I managed to get the boatyard I bought that from. I got them to come down and swap it over for a good one. And another one was yeah, that the little fitting that you screw into the bottle, that was scratched, which is why I gave a warning about that earlier. And as soon as I turned the tap on, although it was a barely visible scratch, the gas was just hissing out of it. It was so much. There's a lot of pressure in that bottle. So when you get to the other side of the regulator, of course, then the pressure is much reduced. But the bottle end of it is pretty powerful, so you do have to be careful. So that's how I changed the gas bottle. Actually, it ran out last night, of course, when it was dark, so I couldn't video it. So in that demonstration, I just went through the motions of showing you how it was done, because it never does it as a convenient time. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you found it a bit useful. Please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.